Greetings, Mechwarriors, and welcome back to NW5 and the continuing adventures of the Space Mechjedis, because we're in the far future, or reasonably far future. I mean, compared to like Warhammer 40,000, it's not that far in the future. But still, you know, it's far enough in the future that we have giant stompy robots, and really, that's all that matters. So we're at an early stage where basically we just have to grind for a little bit and get to, mech level 5 really. If we check mech level? I know what I mean, merc level 5. If we check here, our main campaign, you know, the next thing is going to trigger at 5, but we're also going to get some stuff that pops up when we get to 4, including, I think, the appearance of rival mercenary companies, or that might be level 5 as well, I'm not sure. It would also be nice to get another mech, but the YAML mods do make buying mechs rather more expensive, especially the when it says rare mech, it basically just means a complete mech that doesn't need any repairs. And as you can see, we literally have a choice between Firestarter and a Locust, and I don't know that I would want to buy the Locust. Interesting, that one doesn't actually need any repairs, but it's not listed as a rare mech, so I guess it can come up. That one is, I guess, supposedly also meant to be a rare one canonically as well, because I think the A model, that's the first Firestarter, you know, that was ever produced kind of thing. And I think the Firestarter, yeah, it's an over 500-year-old model at this point, so you can see that this one is a survivor. This one's still fairly old. This, you know, when there's not this maybe particular one, but you know, it was introduced a couple hundred years later. Yeah, that one's also in rather worse shape. It's not the worst idea to get a Firestarter. I mean, yeah, that one's all lasers, that one's got some kinetics, but the kinetics it's got are machine guns. But on the other hand, all lasers means it's going to run a little bit hot, I expect. And the cooling is not great. Well, it's not quite all lasers, it does have some flamers as well. But it's fast. I don't know, if we had the money to afford that, maybe a 35-tonner would add a bit of extra heft to what we've got, because yeah, we've got the Jenner, the Javelin, and the Centurion, so we could do with a fourth mech and a fourth mech pilot, but we'll wait to get the pilot until we get the mech, because I don't want to be paying the extra pilot salary in the meantime. So yeah, let's drop back to the nearest conflict zone, which at the moment we only know of these 2 conflict zones. And hello, Sam. This one is definitely more our level at the moment, because we can't even fill the 145 ton. Like it's what, 110 tons or something total that we put out at the moment. 115 I think. So it's like 50 tons and 65 tons, the 2 light mechs together. One thing I haven't done actually previously is press this button. You can take a look at your faction standings and get an idea of what rewards you'll get. And you can also, if you're trying to basically hunt down every mech variant, like meet every mech variant, you can actually see which ones you have met. And as you can see, given this is a start of a campaign, there is a whole lot of variants that I haven't met. It's only the core game variants that count towards any kind of achievements, though. The mechs that get added in by mods obviously don't. So yeah, Hunchback, we know not to run into the face of those if they're the ones with the big cannons. We learned that the hard way last time. We could take this. It's a multiple mission operation, though. I don't think we have the wherewithal to do those at the moment. So let's see, DeBerry, garrison and defense contracts, and that's not the easiest choice, because either way we're pissing off somebody that we are in sort of good stead with. But yeah, I guess we'll go for one of those. We do want to keep in good with the Independents, because the Independents covers quite a lot of different groups, and losing a little bit of rep with House Davian ought not to hurt too much, because there'll be plenty of opportunities to get rep with Davian along the Davian-Karita border. So yeah, let's go to Deberry then. Isn't it Deberry where we started out? I can't remember. That's one of the early systems, I'm sure. So here we are. We actually do have a new bit of news on the ticker there. Yorinaga Karita. I'm guessing they have... Yes, okay, they have attacked the world. I don't know where Mallory's world is, though. I mean, this is obviously... like, it would be nice if you had something more to go with these. Like I've said previously, like the only real nod to the constant flux that's going on in this universe is, you know, you don't really see stuff happening on the map that much. It is basically just the news ticker. So yeah, I don't think you can even like search for a system. I'd have to go to sana.net, find out where that system is, and then find it on the map. But yeah, that won't really tell me anything or give me anything. It'll just let me know where it is. But it's a bit silly that you have to do that even just to find the system that's mentioned in the news article. So yeah, it's pretty basic. So let's have a look-see. I mean, we could sort of do both and they would cancel each other out a bit, maybe. I don't know. I'm more concerned about the Independence reputation at the moment, so I guess we'll take that one first, but we might do both of these. The other thing that is something we have to look at. Okay, he's bruised still. Commander Mason McJedi is... yeah, he had a bit of a... Yeah, it's fine. Don't run in front of burst fire AC-20s and try and catch the shells with your teeth. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. So, this is defense. So we'll... I mean, we need sort of everything at the moment. We'll maybe... Should we just go for the one salvage share? I think we need money more than anything else. We may end up having to buy an additional mech. And fill out the roster that way rather than wait to piece together a bit of a mech, because like that's going to take a while. We don't have any salvage at the moment, any mech salvage anyway. Like that's the one thing we can do is cobble together a better medium laser out of 3 tier 1s, but I think we were keeping those. It'd be nice if there was a way to see your inventory beyond going to the equipment tab and hitting the sell thing. But I mean, I guess that is sort of... It's fine and all the categories are there, it's just you don't want to accidentally then sell a thing from there, so I don't know. Anyway, deploy. Right, so basically get to the target and do the thing. I think it's reset some of my... I swore I'd turn that off, but I had an issue over the weekend trying to get the game to work, which involved me having to wipe the game from my drive and download it not once but twice. So yeah, some of the things are going to be not how I want them to. Right, there we go. I've disconnected the torso lock, so it no longer changes the torso when I'm changing the direction of the legs. Right, there we go. So we've got a couple of Allied Defender units, but yeah, as per usual, there are, in fact, a couple. It's one. It's one Locust that somehow has literally no armor left. It's always struck me a little bit daft that they do it that way instead of, like, even having them have some damaged armor. But no, they somehow have literally no armor and red structure every single time. There's no variation in it whatsoever, which is a little bit silly. Right, so we've got some stuff coming in from the other side. And in this one, the base health does matter. So, what have we got? It is an enemy locust with apparently an already dead machine gun. That's slightly weird. But at this difficulty, yeah, we're not going to be facing super heavy mechs or anything daft like that. Right, oh, you've come down there already, okay. See if I can get you with a few missiles. Yeah, that was a decent hit. Pew 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 pew. Zap in the face, that'll do it.
Looks like you've got their attention. I'm showing multiple hostiles incoming on your position.
Right, harasser. That ally's actually taking care of that, which is not too surprising. It's maps like this where it would be useful to have something with jump jets to hop around, but sadly I do not. Right, let's get a couple of missiles on that. That's kind of... oh, there we go. I think I actually connected that AC-10 shot. That's nice. Bases can actually take damage from stuff falling down on them, which is a nice touch. Right, assassin. That's, I think, a 40-tonner. A couple of hovercraft. Okay, nothing too drastic so far.
Target acquired.
What do you got? SRMs, LRMs. Not bad, but... although, if you stand there like a goober and let me come up behind you and smash you in the back... yeah. We'll just call that tactics and say they got distracted by my teammate rather than the AI wigging out slightly. Nope. Okay, no, you can't... apparently I couldn't keep that missile lock for long enough to... yeah. I think with the pilot skill mod, I think it does affect things like your ability to keep missile locks for situations like that for a little bit longer. Is that one of those destructible blocks of ice, or is that... no, I don't know. That was one of the things with the... is it just sort of down in between? Yeah, the Von Biomes mod, sometimes you'd get things getting in the way a bit, but they were usually destructible. But that's probably been updated. I mean, the last one of these, which was actually last month, and we're now almost at the end of May, so, yeah. I think it had just come out, there's possibly been patches for it or whatever. Although, talking of Von Seaton and mods, he's actually the mad lad trying to implement one of the popular features of previous games. I think it was at its peak in Mechwarrior 4. It was basically adding in the mech fighting arena on Solaris 7, which is kind of a big deal. Like, this is sort of... I don't know. I mean, it's almost not surprising, this being a setting that was come up with by Americans, that they were like, yeah, let's have like a mech sport be a big deal in this universe. So it's sort of like, I don't know, American football and NASCAR and all of those things in one. Big mechs. Just battering the hell out of each other and people betting on it because, of course... Oh, that was completely wild. Right. It's close enough to punch, so I should probably punch. There we go. Centre torso's getting a little red. Oh, don't do that, ally, thank you. Maybe don't jump in front of me. That mod I think is in still the fairly early-ish stages of development, but it looks quite promising. I think it probably raised a few people's eyebrows when this came out, and that wasn't a part of the game because it's been since, I think, was it Mechwarrior 2 was the first one that had the Solaris 7 games? Possibly. Probably Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries. And I don't know if 3 had it, but 4 definitely did. In fact, one of the hello Sam, one of the channels that I watch has gotten, like, they've literally hired the Black Pants Legion, they've literally hired the voice actor that did the announcer. It's probably one of the reasons why it was so beloved of earlier Mechwarrior players, is because it wasn't just, hey, go in arena and bash other mechs. It's, you know, we've actually given it some character through the announcer. Is this way going to be quicker? Maybe. So, yeah, I actually have hired that guy to do sort of various inserts and fake adverts from the Mechwarrior universe. So, yeah, if you somehow like the Mechwarrior universe and or slash BattleTech universe and have not gone and subscribed to the Black Pants Legion, I don't know why I'm struggling with that, YouTube channel, then you absolutely should. And what are you waiting for? Yeah, this one also got stuck on some terrain, it looks like. Is that... no, just reflex of fire everything. But no, LRMs are not going to fire at that range. I don't know why this one got stuck. I mean, even with the AI mod, stuff still gets stuck. It could not find its way out of this cul-de-sac somehow. Weird. So there we go, million seabells, more Ep. Yeah, -8, +12, but we're going to sort of even that out by taking the other contracts. So, yeah, we do have enough for a single part. We could get another assassin. Do I want some lasers and jump jets and things? I guess we'll go for a part. We could get 2 Cicada parts. The Cicada is a medium mech with the armour of a light mech, pretty much. It's not great, like the Locust 128, Cicada 128, and that's like double the tonnage. So, I've not really ever used the Cicada, and I don't think I plan to, so maybe let's just grab the 1 assassin part, because the assassin is something we might actually use. Although that's one of the more missile-based assassins. And then we'll grab... what will we grab? I guess we can take a medium laser part, that's fine. So that's okay. We'll have a little bit of repair costs, and then we'll take the other contract. And yeah, even not being in an optimal place to repair, it's not adding that much to the overall cost, which is absolutely fine. And yeah, let's just take the other contract. Again, we'll just do the same thing. Or maybe we'll go for about the same. Take the million C-bill payout. This one, garrison duty, this one's a bit more open-ended if I remember correctly. So maybe we'll take a damage coverage for this one, because it gives us the option of sticking around a little bit longer. Although having said it does, maybe we just take the extra salvage shares. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Extreme weather conditions means you'll be dealing with limited
So,
visibility.
6 days wait while the repairs occur, that's fine, and let's go. Also, yes, that is a cat making noises in the background. Thank you, Sam. So as we can see, low visibility. One thing that I think it's the latest version of YAML does, but yeah, for a while thermal vision was, I think I even mentioned this, the thermal vision was a lot more usable than the night vision, but the night vision mode has actually improved a fair bit, but obviously this is daytime, so that doesn't help so much, so we are still sticking with thermal vision. But I think this gives you basically, in the right conditions, I mean it's a lot clearer than it was, and it gives you a longer view distance to the thermal vision. But both of them are preferable to the existing viewing conditions. I'm actually just going to stomp over here just to see if there's any loot in that little structure area. And yes, there was indeed. Let's hope it is actually some loot and not just some ammunition.
Ready to start pickup operation. Brilliant. Payload.
Chem laser. I'm not really into the chem lasers. It sort of feels a bit like the worst of both worlds in that, hey, it's lasers, but it needs ammunitions, so they run less hot than regular lasers, but you need to find space for ammo. So it's lasers where you can run out of ammo, and they still, you know, do generate a reasonable amount of heat, so yeah. I don't think there's, like, given my house rules for this anyway, I don't think there are any of the mechs, even added by the mods, that use chem lasers by default. So that kind of goes against my philosophy of trying to keep the default loadouts, but improving the weapon grades, essentially.
And not a moment too soon.
So, oh no, it's Warzone contracts I'm thinking of that give you the extra. Okay. Alright, so this is another target health one. Yeah, so I was getting confused with my contract types there for some reason. And again, this is a map where having a jump jet would be jolly useful, but sort of cheese this ridgeline a bit, which doesn't entirely make sense, but no, we slid down. Never mind. I was trying to show off a little bit how silly it looked, but it's fine. But, yeah, let's just appreciate the atmosphericness for a moment, because this looks pretty cool. Like, sometimes you just spend the entirety of missions in this view and you forget to actually look at the real conditions. Yes, so, is it just me, by the way, or, I mean, I know this is just, like, okay, this is the way that they've set up their tiling system to put bases together like this, and that's why you see these sort of styled bases so often. But, from a practical point of view, putting a base down in a sort of little crater hollow area like that seems kind of silly to me, because you just, like, unless you have control of the higher area around it, you're basically just giving your enemies, if they come a knocking, oh, I'm a bit caught there, a nice high platform to just stand on and go pew pew down into the middle. And, you know, maybe that's supposed to make it harder for the player to defend, but at the same time, it doesn't make any damn sense. Like, why would you build a base somewhere that's not defensible like that, when the entire history, almost, of people building fortifications is finding nice, high, defensible areas to put them. But hey, in terms of the things that don't make sense in this game / this universe, I think that one's probably not that high up. But it would make more sense if this fortification was up somewhere higher. Anyway, nope. That was not a good shot. Never mind. I might get the mod that gives you the extras, like, zoom in. Because there is one, because that was a thing in the classic games. And, yeah, it might be useful. Right, that one is kind of way down there. If I fire, is that just going to punt into that? Yes. They don't go up high enough. Okay. So we're just having to go a very roundabout route to find this one SRM carrier that's stuck. And then, of course, that will make the rest of them spawn and we'll have to tromp all the way back to the base. Hooray. Are you... It's kind of hard to tell. So you are down in that valley area, because you look at the mini-map and it's sort of right on the shaded bit. It's kind of annoyingly placed. Right, wow, you have spawned in a really weird location. Is that literally... That's literally on its side! Oh, game. Oh, game, that's some Bethesda class jank right there. Goodness sake, okay. Right, now we've got to tromp all the way back over, but that's fine. We can tell our allies to go over there ahead of us. For goodness sake, game. For goodness sake. Right, we're sort of vaguely getting there. I think the allied defenders have done a little bit to them. It's a cicada, so as we saw, not particularly heavily armoured. Not something I super need to worry about. And yes, I am in fact putting missiles into the side of that building. Probably shouldn't do that. They're not the smartest of smart munitions. Which, talking about smart munitions actually, it's not really much to do with Mechwarrior, but sort of. The latest Perun video is sort of all about well, Ukraine and weapons, and I think it was partly inspired by Ukraine getting Storm Shadow cruise missiles from the UK, which can be launched from planes and therefore have a very good range. And he then sort of used that as a launch pad to discuss the sort of generally increasing need for ranged munitions and sort of lessons of the Ukraine war so far kind of thing. So yeah, generally interesting stuff, but it's kind of interesting in the context of thinking about this game and this setting, because it shows that it's kind of in a bit of a time bubble, really, of its own era when it was conceived. And in a way it sort of makes sense, because there is a sort of general theme of technological regression, of the advanced technologies of the heyday of mankind having been lost but slowly being recovered. And I mean, that's sort of a thing in other settings as well, like 40k for instance, and the ever increasing or never to be slaked hunger of the Mechanicus for finding STCs left over from the so-called Dark Ages of mankind. But obviously that's over a much longer time span, and the technologies are, I think, a little bit more exotic, whereas I think Battletech always tried to make it a bit more grounded in terms of I mean, in a kind of probably slightly more than complete layman's sense in terms of like the knowledge they were working with, but still a sort of relatively layman sense of sort of battlefield techs of the era, some of which are still quite relevant today. You know, it's 40 years, but like tank cannons haven't changed that much in that time, for instance. So yeah, their conception of what was high tech and what was lost is kind of there's not that big of a gap. I'm being very my usual inarticulate self here, but like between the high-tech Starleague stuff and some of the stuff that they've been forced to make do with, as it were. It doesn't feel like there is that big of a gap, to be honest. It's not like the most extreme example. There was one of the I can't remember if this was Black Pants Legion or Big Red 40K or one of the other channels that sort of covers lore, but they were talking about one of the periphery states that had basically tried to after the collapse of the central authority of the Star League and things just generally falling apart, come up with their own mech production line, and then literally built a mech with an internal combustion engine, and it moved incredibly slowly. So it's not like there's that level of gap, which might be kind of fun. And despite there being, as I've I think said in one of the previous videos, a clear inspiration from things like Asimov's Empire series, again, that kind of loss of technology, that there was a much bigger loss of technology in those books. So it doesn't really take it to the lengths that it could have, and it seems like it gets recovered within a kind of a not, like, it doesn't take that long. It's only sort of, I mean, we started 2015. It's sort of a couple of decades into the future. We're talking 40, 50, 60 years worth of both partly development, but also there is some stuff that's like rediscovered. There's like a data core that famously gets rediscovered, and I think Comstar puts out a bunch of information. So yeah, it's interesting, but it could have been more, like, there could have been more of a disparity, I suppose. But I guess they were coming at it from the thought of, we're going to make a tabletop game out of this, rather than this is going to be a story setting. The story setting is the reason for the tabletop game to exist, kind of thing, not the other way around. So, yeah. What have we got? Javelin parts, cicada parts. Let's just go for... I was hoping for something a bit more, but we'll maybe take one of the cicada parts, and actually, if we get rid of that, we can just sell them, I think. I don't really want a cicada. Again, not too much damage, and the reputation with both factions ought to be... I thought we even go in the ops faction standings. There we go. So 35 and independence 53. So it's kind of, it leveled out a bit. So that's fine. So we have a transmission because we've hit level 4. And yeah, here we go. So this is basically a bunch of pilots that you can go around collecting that will have their own mechs. But at least in the previous playthroughs of this, one of them is bugged, so I don't know how you complete this exactly, because one of the pilots I basically just could not get. It would say, go to this star system, but there would never ever be any missions there, which was weird. And we now also have the cantina jobs, and this is also a good way to make some money. So these are unlicensed, under the table, cash only kind of jobs. So, immediately we have a couple of people we could go and get. Ada, million C-bills, and only reputation. So, I mean, we'll just take all of these. We have Chainsaw, who comes with a Vindicator, which is not a bad mech. Also some parts, bit of rep. Snowshoe, who comes with a Shadowhawk, which is a very decent mech. That's a really nice mech, the Shadowhawk. So... yeah, we'll maybe try and get them and the Vindicator, and also that really fits in nicely with my idea of trying to keep pilots with their mech. So if it's a pilot that comes with their own mech, that really fits that I'm keeping with them with that mech. Right, so we've got more money, which is good, and we will sell both those salvage parts. Another 400k, that's fine. And we will repair those mechs, and that's also fine. And we can also do some weapon upgrades. We'll do 2 of 3 to the higher tier. That's fine. It's a nice little scorch there. I think it's entirely preset, like, you know, you took this much damage on this part, so it's like a preset decal of damage per part rather than it being in any way dynamic, which would be neat, but also probably a lot more complicated to code. So let's go find... in fact, we'll go right there. We'll see what cantina missions we can pick up, and then we'll possibly think about grabbing one of those pilots. So we've got Collect an Irby. We have 3 Class 1 jump jets. That one will be pretty easy, and that's a nice 500,000. And... okay, these ones are a little bit more fiddly, but we'll take it anyway. Because basically you have to find a thing on a map, but it will tell you when you get a mission that has that thing that you can find. It's always within a specific zone, essentially. So there we go, that little green symbol there means potentially one of these missions could have that thing that we need to find. But let's actually have a look, see where the pilots are. So you're on Solaris 7. We don't have the ability to tackle those yet, I don't think. 230-ton contracts, difficulty 32, that's probably a bit beyond us at the moment. The other one, so that's the tracked job at Snowshoe. View system. That is a little bit closer, but it's still all the way down there. 230 tons as well. So yeah, I don't think we're going to do either of those at the moment. And the guy that doesn't have a mech at all is way the hell out there in the Western Periphery, in the Lothian League. And again, recommended reputation 5. So I don't think we're getting any of those anytime soon, because we're going to spend so much getting over there, and then we don't even necessarily have the mechs to do it. So I was wondering if we would do that in this particular episode, but no. You can't even plan a journey that far. Yeah, for some reason there is some limitation that means that you can only travel so far. That, like, it'll let you plot the journey, but yeah, it only lets you there we go, do a certain number of jumps, and then you have to do another number of jumps. There is a high reward request there, but that's rep 6. So yeah, I don't think there's any others yet. It could flag these up a bit better. I mean, unless you zoom in, that's really hard to see because it's a yellow thing against a yellow background, and it doesn't even show up past a certain level of zoom. So there's another one. That one's a little clearer. So yeah, there's one down there. So these are the kind of static ones. Some will pop up more later on, kind of thing. Anyway, so we have a raid contract. Well, I guess we'll take that one. Objective raid contract, view intel. And that tells me, yeah, house curator stuff, so that's okay. So let's travel there. And this will probably be the third and final mission of this episode. Not the most exciting episode, but it's at that early stage of the game where you just got to grind rep, you got to grind cash. Contracts here may discover, and it will tell you. Yes, I think it is in this mission. I think it's saying that. I think that if it shows up there, that it means it is. So we will have a thing that will pop up and say, "Hey, go here." You don't actually have to hunt around the whole map, which I initially thought you did, because I had this one mission where I was hanging out in this conflict zone area, and I just kept looking and looking and looking, and for some reason it wasn't popping up, so I eventually just had to cancel it. But I was convinced that it was there and I was just missing it, and no, it was actually the game was just being a dick to me, basically. So, salvage shows. We only actually get 2 C-bills out of this, but it's still nearly 1 million C-bills, so let's take that, and let's actually take some damage coverage this time.
Heavy weather warning is in effect, Commander. Your visibility will be compromised out there.
So, this is another poor weather conditions landing. Guess we'll see if it's more snow, or if it's going to be some rain, perhaps, or fog. That can be a thing. Be interesting if the weather was more dynamic, but it isn't. It doesn't change while you're on the map. It just is what it is.
For supplies.
Okay, so it's just some rain. It's not that bad, actually. Do we have a marker? No, we don't have a marker for the thing, so maybe it isn't on this map for the actual extra thing we need. Also, sadly, you don't really leave big stompy robot footprints in the mud. It's not that dynamic, alas. So it's all up at the other end. I think we'll just... Oh no, there it is! Okay, it just needed a moment to trigger. Right, that's that marker there then. That is kind of on the way, so we'll just stick on this high ground basically, rather than go down to that centre area. Well, that's absolutely a-okay. Right, here we go. A few contacts, just some light vehicles so far. Nothing to worry about too much. That hung on for a weirdly long time. We haven't taken too much damage, that's okay. Oh, hello, that's a flyer. Take that out.
This is Hitman. Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Okay, so far so good. Right, so a few more things. We're almost at the first area, but we're going to grab the salvage first. That would be nice to have gotten a cantina contract done so quickly. It'd be a nice hit of cash.
We're approaching the location of a hidden asset. It must be nearby.
The cantina missions are definitely worth doing. I kind of neglected them a bit the first time I played through, but I mean, the rewards you get even just for going through the various levels, like the upgrades that you can basically start to stick on your mechs, are very, very useful, depending on which missions you're leveling up. So it's a way of kind of adding extra hero armor to your mechs, essentially. But it's nice that you don't really start out with that. It's sort of something you gain over time, so it's like extra experience or whatever that your pilots... well, not even your pilots, it's more like the super fine tuning of your mechs, I guess, rather than hero... It's hero armor for the mechs rather than the pilots, let's put it that way. So, yeah, it's not like... It's not like a racing sim, or heck, even some of the Gran Turismo games where you could like have custom gear ratios, and some of the games let you get really into the nuts and bolts of like, I don't know, your vehicle camber and brake disc strength, and you know, like amount of downforce that you want, and all kinds of things. So. Yeah, it's not quite that. It's not quite that. But you can make some fairly interesting modifications to mechs that really let you specialise them. So if you have a mech that's basically a full laser loadout, then you can really go out your way to enhance that by firing them more often, or firing them in more concentrated bursts, or like making them do more damage, or there's various ways you can slice and dice it basically.
Nice to have some extra ballistics.
Yeah, that was just ammo. Okay. And is that another thing we can pick up? I guess so. Oh, I see, that's the thing we have to pick up. We're not destroying a thing, we're collecting a thing. Hence it being green rather than the usual. Okay, well,
Target buildings have been destroyed, Commander. Good
that
job.
was literally just vehicles. There were no other mechs on the field. Okay, that was easy peasy. That was
Commander, I'm showing hostiles.
super easy and barely an inconvenience, to quote a YouTube channel that's quite fun. Oh no, spoke too soon. Actually, no, there was one light mech before, wasn't there? It was like a flea or something, or a locust. Wow, it was so insignificant that I just disregarded it and instantly forgot it, and was like, yeah, no, we didn't meet any mechs, even though I did. Hello, Firestarter. Which was being quite literally very in your face. Right, there we go. Well, still, this was not exactly a heavy load of opposition that we were facing here, was it? What is that? A couple of turrets. That's fine. I'm not even going to waste the munitions. We're here.
A job well done, Commander. Stand by for pickup.
So, nearly 1 million C-bills, and... oh, an engine core! Oh, that's nice. Yeah, we're going to grab that. That is worth a fair chunk of money. Anytime you get the chance to get an engine core. I mean, it's useful just to have some spare engine cores anyway, because they're expensive to buy, but yeah, if it's one you don't need at all, you can just sell it. And a 210, that's not bad, actually. You don't have anything that uses a 210, I don't think, but yeah. That was worth more than the actual mission payout. So there we go, and we've also gotten ourselves an additional 450k machine gun. Doesn't matter that much. For some reason, every time you do these, I mean, I guess because they're under the table things, it's actually gives you reputation with the outlaw faction, which is otherwise not very useful, to be honest. Like in BattleTech, it had a point because it meant you could access the black market, but here your ability to access the black market is entirely nothing to do with your standing with the people that actually run the black market. Anyway, so this is the very first upgrade that we have unlocked that we could now start to specialise mechs with. And as you can see, they're not that cheap. They can be fairly big money sinks. But it will increase our missile efficacy. Would that actually be useful on any of our battle mechs? I mean, maybe the Centurion itself. But we're not exactly a missile-heavy loadout at the moment. Now, I'm actually going to jump to this cantina here. We'll do our repairs. And also maybe fit in better version of laser, and perhaps also fit that to the Centurion, make the missiles a little better, fly a bit faster and go a bit further. Which, for I think a $250,000, we can afford that. Oh, there's also a transmission. Oh, and this is another pilot that we can... oh, okay, this is the freebie. This is a guy that tracks you down. So you don't even need to hunt this guy down, this guy comes to you. So here we go. I was thinking that we needed a fourth guy, and we get a returning guy. This is an ex-Nyx Cavaliers pilot that's come back to us with his own special Phoenix Hawk. Again, a very decent mech. So there we go. We just got a pilot and a mech for free. That's very nice. Where am I looking? Battle mechs. We can actually do some machine gun upgrades as well. We're not actually using them, so we might as well. The Javelin will just repair. The Jenner will just repair. But the Centurion... Let's take a look at the loadout. Oh, and it's level 2 M laser, so... Yeah, we might actually upgrade that. Nothing else we can upgrade there, so that's fine. So we'll... is there any better versions here? No, large laser SB. We'll sell that chem laser. I mean, it's only 50k credits, but hey, it's 50k credits, and that's like a fifth of the cost of the upgrades. No, battle mechs. I'm just completely forgetting where I need to click now for some reason. So yeah, we can repair that, and then we can click on upgrades. And there's a certain number of slots. Each mechs have different ones. Obviously, the bigger mechs have more slots, but yeah, so we can stick that on there. And the missile range goes up by nearly 70 meters. Velocity goes up a bit as well. So it's not a huge upgrade. It, like I said, it really is just kind of fine-tuning. But there are higher level versions of the upgrades, but they take up more slots and cost more to install. So you can have something that's a bit more generalist that has small upgrades to a bunch of things, or you can have bigger upgrades but to just a few things kind of thing. So... yeah, and that's only going to cost 140k, which is quite nice. So we're going to queue that up, and last but not least, I mean, this does have its own unique paint job, which is all very nice and well, but you're part of the MechJedis now, so we have to give you the tartan, which may actually have reset itself, the colours, after having done what I needed to do. I can't remember. I might have to go back in the video and check what colours the tartan was. If I did it on the last video, I might have done it and then cut the footage. I might have to dig out the colour. Was it a brighter red? I honestly can't remember. But anyway, we'll have a quick look at the weapon groups of that as well, because sometimes it's a bit bonkers. Yeah, SRMs don't need to be on both. That's a bit weird. So, yeah, that's nice. We got our 4th mech for free. It's a pretty decent mech. We got a 4th pilot for free. I mean, we do have to pay his salary, but he actually has a far higher skill cap than any other pilot that we could hire at the moment. So, if we can keep him alive, that'd be jolly nice. Because these other two will probably retire at some point. Chambers probably before Freeman. But yeah, I think Goblin's going to be sticking around very definitely for the long term. So that is it for this episode, and hopefully it has been enjoyable. And if you have enjoyed it, you can do all these little things down below, including subscribing. That's always appreciated. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.